you very much, Jan, for joining us today. I'm really excited about learning what you got out of the financial fitness, and I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm English by birth, and I trained as a registered nurse in London, did my midwifery at Oxford, did some work around London, then came out to Australia on a working holiday and stayed here ever since because I met a gorgeous Frenchman in Sydney and married him. So I've worked in the medical industry on and off for many years. In the meantime, we had a family business, tour coaches, because we're a very tourist-orientated area.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm looking at in putting together for the program is having people's testimonies, but also what the financial fitness did in adding value to your life.
Oh, gosh.
So what did you get out of the program?
I got out of the program to really think about what you're doing with your money and how valuable it is. I suppose I was brought up without credit cards, so I did understand the basics, but it's so easy to get sucked in with credit cards and buy things just because you want them, just because you see them, just because you've got money on your credit card. And no matter that you have the principles that you were taught as a young person, it's very easy to get sucked in.
Yep.
You know, buy now, pay later, 24 months interest free. Well, I think it's 52 weeks interest free now. That was one of the most important things to me. And the other thing was, if you can see something that you want to buy and you can afford it, stop and think, do you really need it?
Yeah.
Is it going to improve my life? Is it going to get me towards my goals? And anything, I set myself anything over $50, you must always go home and think about it for 24 hours. Don't impulse buy.
Yeah, that's so important. I know for me, it was the hardest thing.
And the majority of time, you never go back and buy it. Occasionally you do, but the majority of time you do not go back and buy it, which just proves that even if you've got the money, you didn't need it. That's absolutely right. So I think probably the most important principle that I learned was the number one principle, don't spend more than you earn. I mean, it's such a simple statement, such a simple principle.
Yeah.
And one, obviously, that I was brought up with not having credit cards. But once again, with a credit card, it's easy to get away with it. But if you sit down and do your budget and you've got money left over at the end of it, you're doing really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then the other principle of saving for emergencies, having an emergency account.
Definitely.
So that, if the tires go on the car, if the fridge is on the blink, if the washing machine breaks down, the money is there to go and buy it. And you're not tempted to put it on credit card or on 48 months interest free.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I learned too. When the fridge goes out, you'd have to get really creative on what was the highest priority at that time. What were you working with to make it all come together? Because you'll solve the problem when you have to. So a lot of us just go, I know for me, it was just easier not to look at the scoreboard, not to figure it out. So excellent advice. I love that. And if we don't do the basics first, we don't do the discipline, then we can't build on it. We can't move forward into where we want to go and how we're going to actually achieve all of those goals. How are we going to get there? Because
we're in a lucky position of not having a mortgage. It's been paid off. We did have a sticky situation just after the global financial crisis where that's when we really embraced, I think it was 2011, we started to embrace the financial fitness. And we had a very good financial advisor who worked with us and supported us. And we got ourselves back to zero debt. And then we started building on everything again. So all we have now are our, month-to-month living expenses, which is wonderful. And the stress that it takes off you is unbelievable. But, those principles of trying to get yourself out of every form of debt. And a lot of people don't think of mortgage as a debt, unfortunately. But it's the biggest debt
you're
you'll
going to
ever
always
have.
be in debt. It's
That's
a
right.
philosophy. You're going to always be in debt, so why should it matter?
Yeah, and we've even learned to, buy good secondhand cars, but buy them for cash. You save the money, and if you want to change your car, upgrade your car, you've got the cash there to upgrade it.
Because the competing for our dollar is huge. Everything is just so, we need your money more than you. And it's like, I was happy to give them that money before. I didn't understand what it was doing to my family and to my future, in just saying, oh, yeah, I'll just go and buy that new lounge suite. That'd be great. I need it anyway. I don't, but I do. I want
deserve
it.
I deserve it.
I deserve it, absolutely. Which is just the worst words to ever use when it comes to your finances, because like the program teaches us, you deserve it after you've got it in the bank, after you've set your rewards, after you've achieved all of that, and you're completely out of debt. Then you can pay for it with cash. Then you deserve it.
That's it. That's right.
Really,
and I think the other thing I've learned is that every bit of money that you save and put in the bank, if you've got it in the highest possible earning savings account, it's compounding all the time. Yep. Isn't it? That's the eighth wonder of the world, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've found that now too. And
I think the other thing is, I was reading about yesterday or this morning, is that be careful who you take your advice from.
Definitely. Definitely. I learned that the hard way.
so did we at one stage. Don't take advice from broke people, and only really take advice, financial advice, from people who are in a position financially that you would like to be. And they're the ones that have the runs on the board and the ones that you can trust. Yeah, definitely. Because I used to think professionals meant that they had the fruit on the tree. And then when I did more investigation, just because they're a professional doesn't actually mean that they're doing it right. And I thought that was an incredible thought. Employees sometimes are just employees. So. And the other thing I liked was making a list, like a bucket list of what you want to achieve. Written goals. Yes. And we've crossed a few off, which has been great. There's still a lot to go, of course, and some of them we won't be able to do for a while because it includes traveling, which we can't do at the moment. But a lot of the things we've done, which is, and probably I wouldn't have focused on them if it hadn't been for having that money put aside so that we could pay for a trip before we go, not when we come back. I couldn't believe that people actually did that. Financed a holiday. That was nowhere on my radar at all, fortunately. And then you see adverts now in the window of travel agents, travel now, pay later. And I'm thinking, no, don't do that. And everybody's doing that. Like, I am astounded with the afterpay on everything, and it's on every website now. Everything's like buy now, and the credit is so easy, but not keeping track of it is easy to get away from you, what those commitments all are. Because like anything, I've found when it came to the financial world out there, they don't make it easy for you to actually see how much you're going to pay. They don't give you the final number, because if you were looking at buying $100 worth of books, but the afterpay was like $140, would you do it? But they don't show you that, No. And the same for the holidays, buy now, pay later. But how much did your holiday actually cost you? You wouldn't look at it and go, oh, it was a $5,000 holiday, but I ended up paying $7,500 just because I paid it off. It's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But so quickly. Listening through the program, and just how much is the total, not how much is it each month, how much is it over the life of the loan? Yeah. It makes a huge difference in interest. Oh, it does. But I think, we talked about investing in ourselves, and that's why I think this super app is so amazing. For $33 a month, you've got all that information, not only the financial fitness information, but you've got all the personal development and leadership information on Masco Radio. It's just absolutely amazing. Absolutely. $33 a month, an investment in yourself that gives you all that information. And trip credits to boot. That's right. That's right. When we can travel
Virtually
again.
free.
Oh, it's really a no-brainer. A no-brainer.
Yeah.
I remember it's interesting that children can visualize what they want so clearly, and they will work towards what they want if you help them set goals.
Yep.
Much better than adults will. And I remember Pascal, when he got to probably about 12, and we set the goal of him buying a car when he was, I think he was 17 back in his day.
Yeah, yeah.
And he did everything. We had tour coaches at that stage, and he would clean the coaches, and he'd go around cleaning people's gutters and painting people's doors and cutting people's grass.
Yeah.
And he had money by the time he could pass his driving test. I mean, I think my husband put some money into it as well, but he had set the goal. And now our 5-year-old grandson, we've got him setting a goal for his car.
So
No,
great.
You've got all that money in your piggy bank. Let's go and put it in the bank, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, but I could put, yes, but, you know, we're setting this goal for you to get a car when you're this age. I want a car like Daddy. I know. Well, you're going to have to start saving now.
That's right.
Help him setting a goal from that age.
And that is so important. You know, I wish my mum and I and my dad, I wish we had the discipline to do that when I was little. Just the thought of actually paying for university before I got there, like student loans, I'm still paying off a university degree, and I haven't finished it yet, so I've still got to go back and finish it, but I'm still paying that off. And that's my last final debt, which I'm so excited about finally clearing, but so expensive because of that added on, because of that interest, because of that pay now, you know, buy now, pay later stuff. If the discipline had been put in, it would have made a huge difference in my family. I've been doing it for my children, working through them, putting in the extra savings. I know for me, even when it was tight, I still managed to find some savings to put across for the kids, so that discipline was there. So when they do start their days, their lives, they have those options. I mean, even just buying a house now, the deposit for a house is insane. The hoops you've got to jump through to do it. And then I see so many young people committed to these incredible mortgages that just forever to pay off.
It's scary. I know in our day we were lucky because up here in the north you could actually build as you went along. You couldn't do that anymore, but you know, you work like crazy, and you'd buy the land and you'd work like crazy and build the foundation, then you work like crazy and do the walls and then do the roof, and you can't do that anymore, which is really sad, because that's what put us on our feet, really, being able to do it that way.
Working towards it. It's important. I love it.
It is.
Yeah, that's great. I've learned so much, Jen. Thank you for sharing your time with us, and
it was my pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Well, I'm really passionate about this because it's made such a difference in our lives to have that stress taken away and to have hardly any bills. We put solar on the roof, so we have we have about $100 electricity bill every 4 months, I think now.
That's great, really, because they tripled down here. Energy costs went through the roof in Melbourne, and everybody's whinging about it.
Yeah, well, they were pretty high here too, but this time of year we've got the air conditioners on most of the day, and we don't have to worry because it's the UV that generates the power now. And that's just it. All we have to do is pay the rates, telephone, gas, and our groceries. It's just amazing. So our living expenses are very low, and I just think, if everybody lived like us, it would be wonderful.
Well, let's work on that. That's definitely what we want to do. We want to help everybody to have those options.
Lovely talking to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. Cool.
My pleasure.
Thanks.